Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. This is Bitcoin Price Predictions. I'm your host, Daniel Plummer, the the Ganja Ambassador. And this podcast is brought to you by Howard Blockchain TV, and it is sponsored by Addis Ababa Advanced Technologies Incorporated. Always leave us some comments below and hit the thumbs up button because whatever feedback you give us, it helps us improve the podcast. Like I said, this podcast is brought to you to make you a more informed cryptocurrency and digital currency investor. We want you, the purpose of this podcast is to help you understand the change in finance and fiat currency. The world is moving away from traditional fiat currency, which over the last few hundred years has been either in paper, some form of paper backed by government. And people since 1974, when the U.S. government took the U.S. dollar off of the gold standard, people have lost their faith, security, confidence in the U.S. dollar, and people have been searching for an alternative form of currency for more than 3 decades. And they found one in Bitcoin. So today, Bitcoin is down $750 to $57,885. Ethereum is down $102 to 2,558 US dollars. In the news, the SEC has approved MicroStrategy's ETF, which is very encouraging and promising. And this coming Monday kicks off the Democratic National Convention. We'll see what happens. Up until this point, the Democrats are behind the 8 ball. The Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, the U.S. economy is in the crapper, and it's just too easy to blame on the Biden administration because they are responsible with this whole COVID situation. There's no way for them to spin themselves out of the fact that this economy is in the crapper. We're in, it's hard to get a home loan. And the economy can't move forward unless there's increased transactions in commerce. And this can easily, I don't know why this makes no sense. And so that's why I keep saying that the Democrats have to intend to stuff the ballots to make it impossible to conclude who won the first night. But I don't believe there's enough ballot stuffing and vote manipulation to make up the 25-point deficit that they've placed Kamala Harris in, if in fact she gets the nominee. The Democrats' goal is clear. Is whatever we've been doing for the last 50, 75 years is determining who becomes the U.S. president. They want to completely destroy the process and create some precedent where, first of all, we've always had a presidential primary for the last 50 years or longer, and they've thrown out that. They've only had one presidential debate, and now they want to set Kamala Harris up to debate with Donald Trump, which I don't believe is a good idea. I don't believe she's that articulate. I believe she appears and presents herself in a very dingy manner. And she just is not equipped to deal with Donald Trump because he can easily point to, look, you're part of the Biden administration. You're partially responsible for COVID, the lockdowns, the economy being in the crapper, hyperinflation, poor job creation. Donald Trump can just dump all of this on Kamala Harris. So first of all, she's going to have to wait until after the Democratic National Convention, which is going to be all next week. And then whoever that is going, like, to me, Michelle Obama definitely is going to come out like dark Batman out of nowhere because Kamala Harris just isn't prepared. Whereas Michelle Obama is very articulate. She can hold her own. She's respected by Democrats and Republicans. Republican voters may be indifferent towards her, but uh, they also dislike Kamala Harris. So party by pushing her some dingy stooge that is always saying, "Look at my tennis shoes." Okay, that's her biggest statement: is "Look at my tennis shoes." And then they have a plethora of negative comments and statements she's made in the past that they can pull out. So it's my belief that if the Democrats do want to go with Kamala Harris, the easiest way to just knock her out of the water is just to run ad campaigns showing all the statements she's made and blunders, and there are quite a bit. And she has no leadership. Okay, she was the mayor of San Francisco. All right, she led one of the nation's largest cities. Good for you. She never made it to becoming governor, you know. So she's jumped from senator to vice president. That's cool. But she hasn't had any leadership responsibility as vice president, which is how the position is set up. And it's not her fault. So to put her out there just makes it laughable. And then they're going to say this candidate is worthy of beating Donald Trump, who received the most votes ever. And they still can't prove that a guy who hid in his basement, who clearly has dementia and wears Depends diapers, is the world's leader, which makes us look like outright fools. But this is how the Democrats want to present us. It's bad business for everybody. So we'll keep you informed. I don't expect many big headlines from the Democrats. We'll see on Monday how the convention kicks off. We will keep you informed, but I just don't see anything really newsworthy coming up in the next couple of days. That would be shocking. Now, it would be shocking if Kamala Harris admitted that she's actually not going to seek the nominee and that she is endorsing Michelle Obama, which seems more appropriate. But one of the things that gets us all in trouble, including your highness here, is our egos. So her ego may have her speak just like Joe Biden. Like if I were Joe Biden, there's no way I would have ran for president, given the circumstances. But his ego did most of his thinking, because if I had reached that level of cognitive decline, I would expect my wife. But once again, her ego and desire and greed for power influenced her to push him out there. So, but if I clearly was having memory loss and cognitive decline publicly, I would not want people to see that. And if it appeared that I was having mobility issues and publicly looked as if I were defecating in my pants in public on camera in front of world leaders, I would definitely not even want to be public. But these people's ego and encourages them to make bad decisions. And you and I should take note of this. And that's what I'll say there. Okay. So with that, we will sign out today. This is Bitcoin Price Predictions. I'm your host, Daniel Plummer, signing out. If you're looking for courses, go to plummeruniversity.com/Bitcoin Mastery. That's plummeruniversity.com/Bitcoin Mastery to get started with your cryptocurrency and Bitcoin education. And remember, the future is crypto.